In this video, we're going to learn how to use a different method to find and even categorize critical points for functions of several variables. And this method is going to work no matter how many variables you have in your equation. And we're also going to be using what's called constrained optimization. In other words, you're finding the relative maximums and minimums based on some function that has a constraint. We've done one of these before, but now we're going to do the same problem using this new process. It's much nicer. All right, let's back up to the previous calculus class where we learned how to optimize just using derivatives. For example, you remember the problem where the farmer needed to enclose a rectangular area and he was using the barn as one side, and he had a constraint in that he only had 400 yards of fencing available. So we need to maximize this area while only using 400 feet of fencing. So because it's a rectangle, we know this side and this side are the same. So we're just going to call those X. And then we want to use, it makes sense if you want to maximize the area that you would use every single inch of your fencing, right? So this side is going to be the total amount of fencing minus what's already been used. Now what we want to maximize is area, which will be length times width, which is just going to be X times 400 minus the 2 X's that have already been used. Distribute that X, take your derivative, set your derivative equal to 0, solve for X. If this side is 100, then this side will be 400 minus 200, which gives us 200 yards. And so the dimensions of the area that is maximum will be 100 yards by 200 yards. Simple enough, right? But we're going to use this simple problem to just demonstrate the process of using Lagrange multipliers. Okay, so here we go. We have the same problem, but now our f of xy will be the area function. And we have this constraint in that the x here and the x here plus the y here must equal 400. So we're going to do this in the most awesome way ever. We're going to introduce a new function. First thing we have to do is rewrite our constraint so that it equals 0. And this is a new function called g of xy. Seems like a lot, but it's not. Okay, it's just the constraint in a different form. Now I want to form a new function, capital fxy, and I'm going to introduce a new variable called lambda. That is our Lagrange multiplier. So what f of xy is the original function minus lambda times our new g of xy, and you'll see how this works out in a second. So this is the process. It's the original f of xy minus this new multiplier times the constraint after you've set it equal to 0. So let's distribute this. We have minus 2 lambda x minus lambda, minus lambda y, and then plus 400 lambdas. So the next thing in this process is to find our first partials. So the partial with respect to x will be y minus 2 lambda. First partial with respect to y will be x minus lambda. And now we're going to find the first partial with respect to lambda. And watch what we get. We get minus 2x minus y plus 400. Now notice that this is our constraint, right? It's just the negative of this form of it. So we have our two first partials with this extra piece, but we also have our constraint. Now we have this system that we're going to set equal to 0 each of these equations, and I'm going to solve the first two for lambda. The first one, if that equation equals 0, then lambda equals y over 2. The second one, lambda equals x. And then the third one, I'm going to isolate the y because it's easy. I get minus 2x plus 400. Now, using these three equations, lambda equals y over 2, which equals x, and I have this nice little bit here. So y equals minus 2 times y over 2 plus 400, and that equals y equals minus y plus 400, 2y equals 400, and y equals 200. Booyah. Now we take that y, plug it back in here, and I get x equals y over 200, y over 2, which is 100. And now these are in yards, and I have maximized my area. X is 100, and that's by 200. And those are the dimensions of the maximum area with 400 feet of fencing. So the process of finding the extreme values using Lagrange multipliers for a function, multivariable function with a constraint, we want to take our constraint, get it equal to 0, and that's our g of x. We have just our regular f of xy here, g of xy, sorry. First, we're going to form the new function capital F by writing our f of multiple functions. This can be as many variables as we need, multiple variables, minus lambda times the constraint. Second, we find all of our first partial derivatives. Now, you can have z, w, rst, whatever, but you're going to find all of your first partial derivatives. You're going to set each of those partial derivatives equal to 0 and solve that system to find the values of the x and the y and the lambda, and that will give us our maximum or minimum points. Okay, so now let's look at this new problem with 3 variables and this constraint. The first step is to write this equals 0, and that will be our g of xyz. So I'm just going to move the 3 over and make that negative. Now I form my capital F, which will be the original f of xyz minus lambda times the constraint. Distribute that lambda now. The process of distributing it, hold on, I made a mistake here. That's a z. Oh, the z should have been an x, sorry. The process of distributing this, and be really super careful with that minus sign, will make it easier for us to take the first partials with respect to x, y, and z, and then make it easier for us to set those equal to 0 and solve the system. So the first partial with respect to x is going to give me 2x. These are all zeros, and I get minus 2 lambda. With y, I get 2y minus lambda. For z, I get 2z plus lambda. And then with respect to lambda, I get the constraint multiplied by a negative. So minus y minus 2x plus z plus 3. See where that constraint comes in? So now I have this system of equations that I'm going to need to solve by setting each of them equal to 0. And you see x equals lambda, y equals lambda over 2, z equals negative lambda over 2, and then my constraint, set that equal to 0, and I can have the original constraint back by moving that 3 back over. Now I can take these values of x, y, and z, plug it in here, and see what happens. You may notice that I'm doing this in a little bit of a different way than the last one. It doesn't matter how you solve the system, you just got to solve it, right? So lambda over 2 plus lambda over 2 just gives me another lambda. 3 lambdas equals 3, lambda equals 1, x equals 1, y equals a half, and z equals minus a half, and I have my critical point right off the bat. Now I need to plug that into my original function to get the value of my f, x, y, z, which, look at this, this is just the sum of a bunch of squares with this constraint. So this is only ever going to increase. And these values will give us the minimum. Plugging all those values into the original, I get 1 plus 1/4 plus 1/4, which the 2/4 add to a half, and I get 3/2. And that is a minimum value. Let's prove this. It should be obvious just by looking at the function, but we can use this constraint to find some points that are near this point. Say if I take x as a half and y is 1, plug it into this constraint to get the z value there, and that will be a point that is near this point. So if z is negative 1, plug it into the original function, and I get the point 2 1/4, which is 9/4. You notice that 9/4 is bigger than our z value at our critical point. So we have one example of this being a minimum. Let's find another point in the area. What if x is 1 and y is 0? Plug that into the original constraint to get the z value, and I get z equals negative 1. You see how that's very close. Plug that into the original function, and I get 2, which is also bigger. And I've proven, not that I needed to do this, we could look at this and see that it's only going to ever get bigger. So we knew right off the bat that this would be where the minimum, this should be the value of the minimum, and this is the point where that occurs. Okay, this problem should look familiar, but let's do it again. And this is much easier than what we did before. Set your g of x, y, z equal to this equation if we get it equal to 0, so minus 12. Our capital F will be the original lowercase f of xyz plus lambda times our new g of xyz. Distributing that minus lambda, okay, first partial derivatives, first with x, I get yz minus lambda. With y, I'm going to get xz minus 6 lambda. With z, I'm going to get xy minus 2 lambda. And the partial with respect to lambda is going to give me the negative of my original constraint. So minus x plus minus 6y, minus 2z plus 12. Solving this system, lambda equals yz, lambda equals xz over 6. Lambda equals xy over 2. And what I can do now is I can take all of these things and set them equal to each other. And we get relationships. You don't have to do this exactly the way I do. But notice that I can cancel that z as long as z doesn't equal 0. And here I can divide away the y as long as y doesn't equal 0. Notice now that I have x and z, y and z with respect to x. But we know that xy over 2 also equals lambda, right? But I'm going to take these things, plug them into my constraint, and I get this equation. So x equals 4. Y will equal 2/3. Z will equal. Notice that we divided by these variables, so those variables can't be zeros. That gives us this critical value. And plugging it in to the xyz equation, I get 16/3, and that is a max.